you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Chairman of this evening's event, the launch of candidates for the general election 2025, Mr. Ancel Roget and Mr. Mikey K, political leader of the United National Congress and leader of this coalition of interests, and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Kamla Bissessa. Members of the National Executive of the UNC, other leaders of the coalition of interests, and leaders of the various trade unions, candidates for the 2025 general elections, and special recognition to the two candidates that will bring home the Labre and Point Fortin seat, Ernesto Kiza and Clyde Elder. His Excellency, Mr. Jack Austin Warner, and His Excellency, Professor Selwyn Kojo, sisters and brothers, comrade all, good evening. This evening I stand here as a proud member of this coalition of interests. But I want to tell you that the trade union movement has an interest to protect and advance, and that interest is the working class interest. Among other things, that interest is also about ensuring a safe work environment for workers and ensuring that they get a fair day's work. For a fair day's work, they get a fair day's pay. We in the trade union movement have an interest to ensure a decent standard of living for all, not just for the workers, but that interest also includes defending the poor, the unemployed, the vulnerable, the masses, and those without a voice in the society. The working class interest is also to ensure that everybody gets an equitable share of our country's resources. And therefore, when we were invited by the honorable leader of the opposition to have meaningful discussions about the workers' issues, we accepted the opportunity to advance the workers' interests. Because to do otherwise would have been irresponsible and reckless of us. But I want to tell you this evening that in advancing the workers' interests, we have been meeting with the UNC for approximately 2 years. Trinidad and Tobago don't know that, but I want to reveal that this evening. We have been meeting with them for over 2 years. And what? To develop a workers' agenda. But this evening, I also want to tell you, listen carefully, that whilst the political leader of the UNC could have sent her very capable and competent team to meet with us, as political leader and leader of the opposition, she herself led those discussions as a mark of respect for the trade union movement and workers in this country. I am happy to announce to all of you gathered here, and by extension, announce to the country that we have come to an agreement on a workers' agenda. The same workers' agenda which Mrs. Kamla Bissessa, as leader of the opposition, included in her response to the 2025 budget in the Parliament last year. Now permit me to share with you some of the highlights contained in the workers' agenda. Pay close attention. The commitment to create a living wage to ensure that all workers can earn a wage that would allow them to live a life with dignity and adequately take care of their family. The commitment to end the proliferation of contract work in the public service, in statutory bodies, and state enterprises. The commitment to amend legislation in the shortest possible time to ensure trade unions' successorship at key state enterprises and state agencies, and to simplify the trade union recognition process to allow more workers' trade union representation. The commitment to improve all outdated labor legislation, including the Retrenchment and Severance Benefit Act. Many workers have gone home. Many workers have gone home since this Rowley and Stuart Young-led government were in power. And today, over 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they have not received any severance benefit. The Workmen Compensation Act, the USH Act, and also the Industrial Relations Act. The commitment to make corporate manslaughter a criminal offense. Remember, corporate manslaughter where 4 divers died, and you can't jail the building. Well, when this law change, you will jail all of those who are responsible for the death of the people, of the workers. The commitment to begin engagement with the respective trade unions aimed at providing a contributory pension plan, note this, for daily rated workers to allow them to live a life of dignity after retirement. Not only Stuart Young and Rowley deserve a good pension, workers deserve a good pension too. The commitment to work with trade unions to ensure that workers throughout the public service have accessibility to HDC housing. The commitment to preserve COLA for workers where it presently exists in their collective agreement based on the collective bargaining process. The commitment to improve the health plan for all public service sector workers. The commitment to restart the Point-à-Pierre refinery with the involvement of the union. Let me say that again. Let me say that again. Let me say that again. The commitment to restart the Point-à-Pierre refinery with the involvement of the union. And of course, while we can't talk about any percentage or where it would settle, there's a commitment to revisit the unjust and unfair 4% over 6 years and the paltry 5% over another 3 years, with absolutely no consolidation of COLA. The commitment to restore free and fair collective bargaining process to deal with all of the outstanding wage and salary negotiations. We don't have that again. We don't have that under the PNM. What we have is bullying by the CPO to force you, bullying by the courts to force the workers and their unions to accept that unfair 4%. But while these are just some of the general items agreed upon, there are many other union-specific issues that were addressed in the workers' agenda, too many to mention here this evening. But let us not forget Trinidad and Tobago. Let us not forget that for the past 10 years, Rowley and Stuart Young did not bring one piece of labor legislation to the parliament to improve the quality of life of the workers. That is how much they care about you, the workers. This evening, I want to remind all workers of this country, listen carefully, I want on this platform to remind all workers of the country that it was not Kamala who raised gas prices 7 times. It was Rowley and Stuart Young that do that. That it was not Kamala who further burden you with property tax and other punitive taxes. It was Rowley and Stuart Young that did that. She did not decimate TSTT, putting hundreds of workers on the breadline. It was Rowley and Stuart Young that did that. She did not send home hundreds of workers at UTT. It was Rowley and Stuart Young that did that. Kamla did not allow ArcelorMittal to close down and send home all their workers. No. Who? It was Rowley and Stuart Young that did that. It wasn't Kamla who imposed the malicious 4% over 6 years with no consolidation of COLA. Remember this when you go to vote. Remember this when you go to vote. It was Rowley and Stuart Young that did that. It wasn't Kamla who gave the Tiantec workers 000 with no wage offer to their current wage negotiations. Again, it was Rowley and Stuart Young that did that. It wasn't Kamla who weaponized the court and disregarded the collective bargaining process. Remember, it was the PNM government that did that. Don't forget that. Kamla did not lead the unprecedented frontal attack on you, the workers, and attempted to destroy your trade unions. No, it was not Kamla. It was Rowley and Stuart Young who did that. It was not Kamla who closed down TDC, Caroni Green, and Government HR Services Limited. Who it was? It was Rowley and Stuart Young that did that. And tonight, I want to remind all the Petrotrin workers, that it was not Kamla who closed down Petrotrin and sent all of you home, take away your medical plan, put your pensions in jeopardy. It was who? It was Rowley and Stuart Young that did that. You see, they want you to forget the last 10 years. They want you to forget the last 10 years. For them, it is as though that last 10 years never existed. They would like you to forget the pain, the horror, and the nightmare, and the arrogance, and the bullying of Rowley and Stuart Young on you, the workers, and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But we cannot afford to forget that. They want you to forget that Rowley and Stuart Young presided over the loss of over 60,000 jobs. 60,000 jobs with 60,000 families in this country. Kamla did not do that. Yeah? So when you go to vote, remember all of these things. It was Young. Never forget it. Never forget it. But if you put God out of your thoughts and give them a third term, they will complete the job to fully destroy Trinidad and Tobago. You will not recognize this country when you see it on the map. Do not take God out your thoughts. Imagine, after crashing the economy, right before your eyes, Rowley collected his $1 million back pay, $87,000 in pension, and dive out, leaving Trinidad and Tobago to sink. We will neither forget nor forgive them for their vicious and frontal attack on you, the workers, and trade unions in this country. And therefore, we are not prepared to sit and wait for the results. We are prepared to help create the results. We are in it. We are in it to win it. And that is why we have put forward two candidates. And that is why we have put forward two candidates, Clyde and Elder, to win the library and appoint 14 seats on Monday, April the 20th. Tonight, I am appealing to all workers in this country. Tonight, I am appealing from this platform, I am appealing to all workers in this country to join with the UNC and the coalition of interests, to join with us in our rescue mission to save our country, to create a better future with many opportunities, not just for you as workers, but for your children and future generations. But I must strongly advise you not to be distracted, not to fall for the deception, lies and false promises of this wicked PNM government at this 99th hour. In 10 years, they have underdeveloped this country. They have taken Trinidad and Tobago almost 4 decades backwards. With absolutely no achievement to show, they will use the only weapon they have, that is the weapon of race, to divide you. But do not fall for that as I close. Do not fall for that. Let us stay united and keep our focus on winning. I also want to tell you as I close, I also want to tell you that no other political party, whether pop up or pop down, will win this general election. No other. None. The only political party to win this general election and put this country back together again is the UNC and the coalition of interest with Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar as leader and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So on election day, Monday the 28th of April, as workers, go out in your numbers and vote for yourself, vote for your children, vote for your future, vote for jobs, vote for opportunity, vote for change, vote to ensure that the UNC and its coalition of interest win. Because when the UNC win, all the workers will win. When the UNC win, the people will win. When the UNC win, Trinidad and Tobago will win. When UNC win, everybody wins. I thank you.